amigos, and welcome to the last show on Televida. We have a legendary member of a legendary restaurant family in Kansas City. You remember the Italian Gardens. I grew up with the Italian Gardens. It opened up in 1925. Prom. I have so many great memories about the place. We're going to relive some of those memories. His father was a legend, walking saint here in Kansas City. Mr. Philanthropy. We love the guy. We're going to talk with John DiCapo on the last show, but we're going to watch these clips, talk a little bit about the history of this book. We'll be back in the last show.
The DiCapo family has been making wonderful Italian foods in Kansas City since 1925. And now their wonderful Italian cookies are available to you. Made fresh daily using only the finest ingredients, with recipes handed down through generations. DiCapo's cookies are a delightful addition to any family or office get-together. Order online at DiCapoFoods.com or pick up a tray at your local Cosentino's, Price Chopper, or Henhouse markets. DiCapo's Italian Holiday Cookies, a Kansas City tradition.
Thank you, John. I appreciate this.
Oh, Elliot, it's my pleasure, my friend.
The restaurant started in 1925. You grew up in the restaurant business.
No doubt about it.
How old were you when your dad first put you to work?
Well,
How old?
honestly, my mother put me to work first.
Uh-huh.
My mother had to drive.
Your mother still puts you to work.
Right, no doubt about it. My mother had to drive in at 27th and Van Brunt called Have a Snack. Mm-hmm. And it was hamburgers and Italian steaks. Started there at 12, and at 16, she sold it, and I migrated downtown. So I went from flipping hamburgers to making meatballs. When I was a kid, young kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, my dad in the summertime would bring us down there. I had cousins, Joanne DiCapo, who lived out south, and Joel. They lived out south. They were cousins. But they put Joanne and I and another cousin, gave us a big thing of meatballs, and we rolled meatballs for the first 5 hours.
The Italian Gardens back in the day was packed. How many meatballs? I'm curious about this. How many meatballs a day would you go through?
I don't know.
Over 100, thousands.
I don't know, but
How many meatballs have you made in your lifetime?
I've made a lot. I've been making meatballs for 50 years. Some guy came in and goes, "These are the best meatballs I ever had."
They're
I said,
delicious.
"Fuck, I've been making them for 50 years, man." I said, "I know how to make meatballs."
Oh my God! You've probably made millions of meatballs. Oh
Well,
my God!
I made a lot of meatballs.
All right.
Made a lot of meatballs.
All right. Everybody that's watching our show remembers the Italian Gardens. Like I said, actually, when I was doing my research, you had old menus in the Kansas City Star back in the 20s where you were selling the steaks for like $1 or something like that.
I've been making meatballs for over 50 years, and you know what? Making meatballs, there's really, it's not hard to make a good meatball. And it's just like Italian.
We don't want you to give up anything.
Well, it's just like Italian food, Elliot. You just keep it simple. You use great ingredients, keep it simple, and have, you got to have a little bit of knowledge on how to. We bake the meatballs now. My mom at home, she fries them in olive oil. So I like them both ways, but when you make a lot of them, you can't fry them, you got to bake them.
Let me ask you this, because your father was just the sweetest guy. I actually got to be the judge in the St. Patrick's Day parade with him. But when you're working there and everybody else is working there and you're the owner's kid, did he treat you any different, or were you like everybody else? Were you treated harder?
I worked my ass off, man. I worked my ass off and got paid less. and got paid less. But I made up for it because I had the keys, and my dad would go home, and my uncles would go home, and all my friends would show up, and we drank from 10 o'clock at night till 2 o'clock in the morning. So you want to know about Willie and all these other people?
Yeah.
That's when the party started at the Gardens at 10 o'clock when my dad, everybody, friends of mine would wait on Baltimore around the corner for my dad to drive away so that we could start drinking.
And then they'd see
so,
it.
My dad always say, you never asked me for a raise. I said, don't worry about it.
We're good.
No, we're good, Dad. Don't worry about it. We're good.
We're good.
Right.
So what was your favorite menu item that wasn't pasta at the Italian Gardens?
Well, I love the veal parmesan. And the veal parmesan, it's hard to get that veal parmesan today. And it was very simple. It was just lightly breaded veal cutlet, and we would saute it in a little olive oil. and we would put it on a light layer of tomato sauce, put mozzarella cheese, put it under the broiler, toasted, melt the cheese a little bit. So sometimes you go to Italian restaurants nowadays, you get a veal parmesan, they put it over pasta, they put sauce all over the top.
Yeah.
You can't taste it.
No.
So the veal parm, but as a kid, growing up at the Gardens, I mean, we would take the bus, the Northeast bus, we would take the bus from St. John and Van Brunt downtown, and I'd always get a bowl of shell macaroni with meat sauce. That was my deal. And then we always had Jell-O at the Gardens.
Oh my
had
God.
Jell-O,
I do
fruit
remember
Jell-O with
that.
a little dollop of whipped cream on it.
I do
was my
remember that.
go-to dish.
Let me
as
ask
a
you this,
kid.
because I'm kind of in the airport restaurant business now, and everything's pre-made. I mean, these big companies, they make everything. And I always wondered what it was like 40 years ago. I mean, you had to make everything from scratch. You didn't get it all freezer to fryer.
My grandmother, and it's in the book, but my grandmother, they had 8 women that dressed in white outfit, looked like nurses.
Kind of like the chili ma's kind of the thing.
Chili ma's, I don't know what that.
But that's a term where women would make chili in the Southwest. It's old.
Yeah, these were all Italian women, and they would make the raviolis by hand, the meatballs.
The pasta by hand.
No, not the pasta, the ravioli. We made homemade raviolis. Our raviolis were this big, not the little squares that you get. Well, ours were all homemade. So they made the raviolis, they made the manigotti, they made the cannelloni, but we didn't make the pasta. We always used R&F pasta.
Local company?
Well, R&F, I think it was a St. Louis company. But we always used dry pasta. See, the problem with using fresh pasta
Is what?
you never know it cooks real fast and it's inconsistent in a lot of cases. So you use dry pasta.
You were using these people from Jump from 1925 on, this pasta company?
I was using them as long as I've been there. And all the pasta came from a company called La Rocca, which was on 5th Street, across the street from LaSalle. All our olives, all our, all that stuff.
All right, now let me ask you this, because you mentioned ravioli. You mentioned St. Louis.
Right.
St. Louis is the home of toasted ravioli?
I think so.
What?
I think so.
Well, how come you didn't come up with it? How come, what's up with that?
I don't know. See, the deal is this. Our raviolis, we made by hand.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you make a great ravioli, there's no reason to put breadcrumbs on it and fry it. Evidently, the St. Louis raviolis weren't that good, so they had to bread them and fry them and put
He's
sauce
at
on
it.
them. Well, I'm just telling you, asked the question,
That's
I
right.
give you the answer.
That's right. Well, hey, they don't have a football team, and the Royals beat the Cardinals in the World Series.
No
so.
doubt about it, but you know what? I like it. And now we used to take those big raviolis, and we used to bread them and fry them. We served them, but we only got 2.
I was
People
wondering
say
about
we
that.
only get 2. In St. Louis, you get 15, 18. Yeah, but our 2 were this big.
My gosh. Well, we're going to take a break here. We're going to show a clip from the great history of the Italian Gardens. We're going to be back with Italian Gardens to go, which you can get right now. We weren't talking about history. We're talking about right now. We'll be back on the last show with John DiCapo.
The DiCapo family has been making wonderful Italian foods in Kansas City since 1925. And now their wonderful Italian cookies are available to you. Made fresh daily using only the finest ingredients, with recipes handed down through generations. DiCapo's cookies are a delightful addition to any family or office get-together. Order online at DiCapoFoods.com or pick up a tray at your local Cosentino's, Price Chopper, or Hen House markets. DiCapo's Italian Holiday Cookies, a Kansas City tradition.
Well, we talked about the history of Italian Gardens, and I was hungry talking to them, so how do you get it now? You can get it now. Italian Gardens to go. Actually, last week I had the meatballs, and it's funny, you texted me right as I was eating them, right as I had my pie hole stuffed with, and the sauce, You know, it brings back memories when you have a flavor profile.
Right.
You attach it with chef. You know, I was skinny when I was enjoying this sauce. That's how long ago, but I'm not. But we have okay, and then so we still have Italian Gardens to go. Tell us about your operations right now. If you have that nostalgia feeling, or just want some great food, tell us about what you're doing now.
Well, I mean, my Italian Gardens life after the restaurant closed.
All right.
I started making tamales. I started making the.
Where are my tamales?
I'm making them tomorrow.
Where's my tamales?
I'm making them tomorrow.
I told Joseph about your tamales.
I started making Jim's tamales when I left the restaurant, and I made 10 million tamales in 15 years.
He has delicious tamales.
10 million
Joseph.
tamales. And
He didn't bring any.
No, I sold them.
He didn't bring any.
I can't keep them. I make them anyway. So then I decided, I'm going to bring back the restaurant. So I went out to Berry Road, rented a little building, and started making the meatballs, started making the sauce. I called it Italian Gardens to go, and it was on Berry Road, across the street from Zona Rosa. Mm-hmm. A little.
I remember that. It was the drive-through.
A little drive-through.
Yeah.
So I did that and got in the pissing match with Quick Trip and left.
Uh-huh.
Went out to 119th and Metcalf.
Yeah.
And did it again.
Uh-huh.
And did that for a couple years, and then my daughter called me and said, Dad, are you ever going to come to, she was going to St. Paul's, are you ever going to come to any of my basketball games?
Uh-huh.
And my daughter's the worst basketball player, and Italians aren't good basketball players. Italians are good coaches.
Coaches,
But you can't play with the shit.
Calipari,
Calipari and Valvano.
Yeah.
I got a good story about Jimmy V.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I said, okay, so I closed it down and went back to where I am today. I've been there 25 years.
Where is that?
901 East 19th. It's Italian Gardens Pizza now, and that's another story, how I got in the pizza business. But it's 19th and Campbell. So I got down there, started making meatballs and Italian steaks and stuff, and then the gas company came down, closed the street for 7 months. Everybody quit. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to work by myself.
Do it.
And my mom.
And your mom.
And my mom.
Who is?
Shuggy.
Now, how old is she?
88.
Yes.
And she's the greatest. So now I started putting the meatballs in the sauce in the bag. Mm-hmm. And I sell that for $10.
And it's delicious.
So you get 8 meatballs and 22 ounces of sauce. Working with the company in Philadelphia right now who wants to produce it for me so that I could distribute it regionally, nationally.
You gave me a couple bags, and I took one up. I was visiting my son in Minneapolis, and we just got the pasta. It was delicious. And, my son tries to be coy, right? He's just like, well, it's okay, Dad, right? So we put it in there, and, of course, I get up in the morning. It's gone. It's gone. Yeah, apparently somebody broke in and ate what he thought was okay.
Yeah.
I just remember hearing the microwave ding.
Yeah.
But we also have, all right, you tease us with food, because if you go to the Facebook website, Italian Gardens to Go, are you on Instagram too?
Oh, sure.
All right. You just say, I love Italian beef, and you had it, you announced it, and then it's gone.
Well, see, the deal is
By the time I see it, it's gone.
Listen, man.
DiCapo, man.
So here's the deal. I work by myself.
You're a food tease.
I work
is
by
what you
myself.
are.
Yeah, I work by myself. So I make something, and I sell it in a day or two, and then it's gone. So I got a 10-pound beef.
I remember that.
Because the guys from Chicago go, our beef's the best. Our beef's the best. I said, your beef is good. Your beef's not the best. Okay. So they got Mr. the bear.
Mr. Beef, yeah, the bear. That's why.
So I saw the bear.
That's when you saw that. I said I was craving it. I
saw
can't
the
get it
bear,
at Portello's.
so I made it and I sold it all. I make my own jardinera. Anyway, so now if you want the meatballs, I make 3 different kinds. I make one with pasta, meatballs and sauce. I make one spicy Italian sausage with sauce. And then I make a cacciatore with chicken, roasted chicken, bell peppers, onion and mushrooms, and I sell them.
Now you can get all this. You won't run out of it like the Italian beefs.
No, I have that all the time. And I have the cookies all the time.
All right. Oh, we forgot about it.
Can't forget about
Actually,
the cookies.
when I had the concession at
cookie
the airport, we
season,
saw
man.
it's cookie season.
It's cookie season.
Tell us about the cookies.
Well, my mom has always made. My mom's been working with me from the '97 when we started, and we started making Italian rice bowl called arancini. Anyway, so instead of her making cookies at home, she said, "John, I think I'm just going to make cookies here." And this was while we're in the tamale business.
Yeah.
So she starts making the cookies, and people are coming in to get tamales, and they see these wonderful Italian cookies, and they want to buy the cookies. So the cookies just developed into our main business after I sold the tamale company in 2015. The cookies become our main business, and we ship cookies all over the country.
I love Jim's tamales. You keep on mentioning
Tomorrow. Are you in town?
Yes, I am in town.
Tomorrow.
All right.
Anytime after 9 o'clock.
Now, this is going to be on in a couple weeks.
But nobody else can come.
Yeah, this is going to be on in a couple. Yeah, really.
I've already sold all the tamales.
This is going to be a couple weeks, so don't go tomorrow because the tamales are gone.
Yeah, and don't ever come. Just don't ever come because they're all gone.
No need to piss people off about the fact that you
just
don't
can't
have
get
them.
them. I mean, the only people that can get them are the people that are in the know.
You see, I thought because we're on Televida Hispanic network that you would have brought some tamales down.
Tomorrow.
I'll bring you some tamales, Joseph. I'll bring you some.
I made the meat.
I
made the meat, and we call it the mush.
Yeah.
Not the masa. We call it the mush.
All right.
Because it's the original Jim's recipe.
That's right. When's the last time you had a good tamale, Joseph?
Yeah.
We're going to have some really good
They're
ones.
different. They're American tamales. Jim came from Springfield. He was an American guy, and so they're not Mexican. We don't use masa, corn flour. We use cornmeal. They're actually, the Mexican people call them rolo de maíz.
What?
Rolo de maíz.
You've heard of this before?
Corn rolls. No, we invented it.
Yeah.
Corn rolls. Because they're rolled. Well, you know.
Yeah.
They're long.
Oh yeah, maize corn. Okay, I get
Rolo
it.
de maíz.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got
So
it.
anyway, that's the deal.
So tell us about. All right, we're gonna hit everything that you get at. When can I get pizza at Italian Gardens to go?
We have pizza all the time. And
So the things you get all the time:
Right.
sauce to
Right.
take home,
Right.
pizza.
Pizza and cookies.
Okay.
So a guy
Now, I
came.
don't remember pizza at the Italian Gardens.
Oh,
Maybe we
they had the
never.
best pizza.
Well, my dad never let me get
We
the
had the
pizza.
best
We always
pizza,
get spaghetti.
and it came on a round. We used to have round pizza pans, and we made round pizzas, and they were kind of thin. So when I got into the business, the quick serve drive-through restaurant, I said, you know what? I can't make thin pizza because people are going to buy it and drive and eat it, and it's going to fall over.
Yeah.
So I started making the traditional Sicilian style crust, which is a thicker crust, which people can drive and eat. So there's another story. So I'm saying, you know, I only have my Italian Gardens recipe for pizza crust. So I'm watching TV, and who's on TV? Tony Giannini.
Yeah.
The guy who's the #1 spins band.
I watched those in the Vegas, the Pizza International show. Yeah, I
they
watched
had
those.
the pizza show.
Yeah.
So he's in San Francisco.
Largest convention in Vegas.
And he gives the recipe on how to make Sicilian style pizza crust. Well, I'm trying to write it down, I miss it. So I call him. Say, hey, Tony Giannini, John David DiCapo, Paisan. He said, yeah, what can I do? I said, this was before he was real famous.
Yeah.
I said, you know, I saw you on TV. He said, John, give me your email. I'll send you the recipe.
And
so
you
he
didn't?
sent me the recipe. So I'm using Tony Giannini's recipe.
Well, that's authentic. Well, let me ask you this, because I could talk about pizza for all right. What's your feeling on Detroit pizza?
Well, I didn't even know what Detroit pizza was, other than they put the sauce on the top.
Okay, that's a.
And it's kind of thick.
Okay, yeah. Chicago style.
Chicago, well, they got two different kinds.
The kind that looks like a baby pool full of pasta.
You're talking about the big, thick,
Yeah.
like Uno and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's all right. It's a novelty item. It's a novelty. Chicago people, Lou Meldati's and all that. It's a novelty thing.
So it's not really. It's
It's Chicago style.
It's what tourists eat, is what you're saying.
It's what tourists eat. I mean, it takes 45 minutes to cook one.
Okay.
Which is weird.
That is kind of weird. Well, hey, as you know, John, I'm a comedian, and one of Kansas City's most famous comedians was in your employ. Is that true? Eddie Griffin, was he in your employ?
I mean, I don't know if he was in our employ or not.
Look, when he had a special and talked about Kansas City, he featured Italian Gardens on that special.
Yeah, well, what happened was, I'll tell you the Eddie Griffin.
Eddie Griffin, very famous comedian from Kansas City. Street named after him, not that far away from here.
I tell you the Eddie Griffin story.
Let's hear it.
We decided at one time we were going to have valet parking.
Yes.
Because downtown was busy, no parking.
It's the only thing like that is today.
This was like in the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay? So we had a guy named Ozzie Stanley who was the bartender. He was a big black man. He was my dad's right-hand man, and he was closer, I was closer to him than I was my own family. Because I was around him all the time. And they put Ozzie in charge of the
parking,
of the valet parkers. So he hires 2-3 guys, and one of them was Eddie Griffin. So Eddie Griffin comes, and everybody else has got on, black pants and a white shirt. And Eddie Griffin comes with parachute pants on. He thought he was
MC Hammer.
Yeah, he thought it was a Hammer time. And so we hire him and tell him what to do and all right. So a guy pulls up in a brand new Cadillac. Brand new Cadillac. Man, the guy pulls up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Here we know where this is
what
going.
What does Eddie Griffin do? He jumps in the Cadillac and takes off to the plaza, and he's driving around, he's showing his friends the Cadillac, this brand new Cadillac. Comes back 45 minutes later, and he knew he was in trouble. And Ozzie weighed 350 pounds. So Eddie gets out of the car, and we're all out there going,
where have you been?
And he gets out of the car, and Ozzie starts chasing him, and he's chasing him down Baltimore Street, and we never saw Eddie Griffin again. That was it. That was
it was formative to him. It almost reminded me of the Ferris Bueller book where they did in the movie where they take off and drive the car.
Yeah, it was a short-lived stint for Eddie Griffin at the Italian Garden.
So let's talk about Italian Gardens to go. What's the address again?
901 East 19th. It's easier to tell you. It's the corner of 19th and Campbell. It's next door to Tension Envelope. And people say, well, Tension Envelope, where's Tension Envelope? Well, if you get down to anywhere in the crossroads and you look up in the sky,
you'll see Tension Envelope.
There's a 20-story building with a 10-story neon that says Tension Envelope. And we are right next door.
Now, we can also get these cookies on the internet?
Yeah, you can go to decapofoods.com or decaposcookies.com.
Can you pull in on this? Decaposcookies.com.
Decaposcookies.com or decapofoods.com. And you can order, and we ship all over the country, and it's just, it got overwhelming at one time, so we kind of tried not to promote it. One time I put an ad in the Southwest Airline magazine, which was a big mistake.
Why is that?
Because I started getting people who wanted to order 50, 100 trays, and I didn't have the capacity to make them. And you can't make those. These are all hand ice.
I saw that on your website. You were making them yourself.
They're all hand ice. So you can't run them through a machine. They just don't taste the same.
They don't taste the same. Well, these are authentic here. You represent a great family. We appreciate everything your family's done. You've been my comedy supporter. I mean, I did a show. He's the only guy laughing. He was the only guy
because
laughing.
Everybody else was kibitzing.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to him, and I told him,
He's the only guy
I can't wait to see your next show.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't doing, I would have flown down.
Yeah.
I mean, I
know you asked about that.
I can't wait till your next show because I'm going to be in the front row.
There you go.
As long as you don't make fun of me.
I will never do that. John DeCapo, Italian Gardens to go, 19th and Campbell.
901 East 19th and Campbell. Come by.
We don't have the tamales.
Well,
Whenever this shows up, just know we don't have Jim's tamales.
Only open till 2 o'clock.
Oh, that's right.
Monday through Friday. Don't come on the weekends. Don't come at night. And don't come at 10 minutes after 2 because you ain't gonna get nothing.
All right.
You gotta come while I'm open, and I'll be gracious and serve you as long as I'm.
It's in his DNA. John DeCapo, thank you so much.
Hey, Elliot, my pleasure.
Thank you for being on the last show. Adios, everybody.
Adios. These are wonderful DeCapo's cookies and Italian Gardens meatballs and tomato sauce. We've been making the cookies for 25 years. We hand iced each one of these cookies, and they're made with my mother's recipes that she got when she's from a little girl. Generations and generations of Italian cookie makers. Italian Gardens tomato sauce and meatballs are the original recipes handed down to me from my uncles, my dad, and my grandmother from 1925 till today. We're on the corner of 19th and Campbell, 901 East 19th, right next door to Tension Envelope in the East Crossroads of Kansas City, Missouri.